I drink your milkshake.
You are listening to the Billionaire Podcast Network.
What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning on the everlasting arms. What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my Lord so near, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning on the everlasting arms. Blessed be. Welcome to the Blessed Billionaire Boys Backyard Bible Bonanza, or as we call it, Sextuple B. Throw up your double trinities, folks.
My trends.
Your trends. Sextuple B only on the Billionaire Podcast Network. Ka-ching, bing, 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 bing. Did he fill her up? Be seated, congregation. It's me, your co-pastor, Pastor Dalton. I'm joined by my fellow shepherd, Pastor Jamie. How you doing, Pastor Jamie?
Hey, blessings to you.
Blessings be upon you. Praise be to the Most High.
The Most High.
The Most High. Yes, it has been a big week for the church. For the church has finally become monetized on YouTube. We did it.
That's incredible. It only took 9 weeks.
Yeah, 9 weeks of this plus all the other activities.
I say countless things you're doing.
Countless things that I'm doing. You could probably count them. But
you could count. All right,
you could count them. Yeah,
you're doing a lot though.
I've been active. I've been taking a very brute force approach to content creation, and rather quick amount of time have been able to monetize the YouTube channel. What does that entail? Well, the channel now can now receive ad revenue and paid memberships.
Wow.
And and so right now, estimated revenue for the channel, the church, is $10.81.
Okay.
So we're there, we're doing it. And Pastor Jamie's a part of it. Everybody involved with the church, the organization is
it's a given place.
Yeah, it's been a blessing. It's a blessing for sure.
Really cool.
Yeah, the Lord provideth. And we're we're going big places. And people have reached out. Like I think there's like still some trepidation from podcast listeners, from content consumers to watch or listen to this particular program because it's the Bible, and you know how the secular world feels about religion. Especially
it's like if they're not dogging on it the whole time. What is this? What is this? It's I'm getting laughed at by our peers for doing a Bible.
Exactly.
I'm getting our own peers laughing at us.
The secular world mocks us, and the Scripture tells us to remain.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, to remain steadfast in our faith, and strong in the face of mockery and condemnation. Um, as we see this week with Lil Nas X, just completely
Wait,
blaspheming.
what happened?
You haven't seen the Lil Nas X
Oh,
thing
sure.
where he's doing some like Christ.
The video.
Yeah, he's doing like a Jesus thing.
Yeah, but you talking about the one where he's like lap dancing on the devil?
No, there's a new one. He's got a new song coming out that's like a
Hmm.
Jesus song. And so he's mocking Christ.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. He posted some video where he's like he's crucified, and then the cross turns into like a transformer, like
Hmm.
a like a robot or something. It was weird. But that's the thing about the teachings of Christ and being Christ like on this earth is even in the face of condemnation as such, mockery as such,
Mockery.
we do not judge. We do not become angry at such things. For Christ has taught us kindness and love, and that
Hmm.
when I see such things, I do not cast aspersions or castigate. I merely remember the teachings of our Lord and Savior, that I'm to love everyone and
Hmm.
practice forgiveness. And so though you
Yeah.
may strike me down, I will not strike you down. I will turn the other cheek.
Yeah, tough. It's a tough one. I don't always succeed in that, but I try.
Yeah. But I think people with this show, yeah, people definitely are more secular now and are more accustomed to japes and jabs and mockery, and we this is a sincere program. Like,
This is your program. We have plenty of laughs. I mean, we've actually we've said some interesting things that you probably wouldn't
we
hear in a
look,
church doing a Bible study.
we
So,
push the envelope for churching for sure.
for
We
sure. But
riff.
it
We
is, but it is an honest approach, you know. And I'm going to paraphrase this really bad, but there's a verse in Colossians. I believe it's Colossians in the New Testament.
Colossians, is that like a pig in a blanket?
Yeah,
Like
Colossians.
the
Yeah,
pigs in the blanket people.
it's a Colossian. They also make
Colossians.
they make kolaches.
Yeah.
uh, uh, something about I can't remember if I can't remember where it is, but man, and of course you hear paraphrasing because this is how things get lost in translation here, but basically something that nothing should come out of your mouth than what is edifying to the church. So he's not even saying don't cuss.
Hmm.
He's saying whatever comes out of your mouth should be edifying to the church, something that helps the church, grows the church, or you know you know what I'm saying, like it aids in whatever in your ministry, right? So it's like sometimes I think even honest approach of like whether it be a cuss word for the effect or just talking about some really harsh and dark subjects, especially comedically,
Yeah.
perhaps that could be edifying to the church. How you interpret all these things are very obviously subjective sometimes, but
Yeah. And speaking of
but same,
edifying, Eddie
yeah.
Eddie Patterson, who plays on the Righteous Gemstones. The You ever watch that show?
Yeah, I watched like the
E-
first episode. I never
Edie
got into
Patterson.
it.
Oh
Which one
yeah,
is
well
he?
I think that Edie, her name is Edie. She plays the sister.
Mm-mm-mm.
I'm drawing a blank on the character's name right now. But I think that shows a good example of something that approaches the church in a way that's like very funny. It's a comedy show, a lot of swears, a lot of sex stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also like very sincere. It's like a very genuine show, and like you could tell that Danny McBride grew up around that and is not like trying to mock what Christianity and the church is.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting show because it does like it does highlight like sort of the hypocrisy of those mega churches. It's very funny, but
Yeah.
there's also like a very like groundedness to it in the way that it approaches like all the religious aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. You should watch it.
Maybe I'll give it. Maybe I'll give it another shot.
Give it another shot, dude. Uncle Baby Billy, the Walton Goggins character, is a revelation. The funniest
Really?
character.
All right.
The funniest character on television right now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll give it another shot then. I know. In fact, last time we spoke, I was supposed to do some homework, and I just realized just now I didn't. I did not watch Noah.
I did not either.
So
I had failed to do that.
you know what? It's okay because we still have to go to chapter 9s and 10, or have to do with Noah as well. So we could do it after this episode before next week. You know.
Yeah. We'll get around to it. Yeah, we'll get around to it. I got, I've been like really busy. I've been working. I'm probably gonna get fired, but whatever.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
Yeah, they are not happy with my performance at my job. I can sell podcasts. I can sell, I can get people to subscribe to my YouTube. I'm very bad at selling cell phone service.
So you're good at podcast, not Comcast.
Hey, bleep that. Bleep that.
Sorry.
Jamie, bleep that.
you said Comcast on there. I thought.
I've not. No, I've made a concerted effort to not say that. What are you gonna do?
Well, you said you're gonna get fired anyway.
I don't know. I'm under review. They want to do coaching and stuff. It's a good job, great place. I have nothing bad to say about it, folks. Great stuff going on there. Great product, great service.
Great package plans.
Oh my god! I mean, great bundles. But that we'll move on from that. That's all we'll say about that. But yeah, it's been a big week. Big week.
Yeah, it has been.
Big week for religion, big week for Judaism, even, speaking of the book of Genesis, Noah, the first book of Moses, big week for Judaism.
Why is that? For why?
Jamie, are you serious?
Because of the tunnels?
The tunnels.
I just saw something about that. I don't know what's going on though yet.
Dude, you are
I'm late. You're
very offline, Jamie, because it's the only thing anyone's talking about. It's so good.
What's happening?
So there's a Chabad in Crown Heights. A Chabad is like a type of a synagogue, like a Hasidic. I don't really know. I don't know what's going on with those people, but there's a synagogue there at like 770 Eastern Parkway in Crown Heights, and apparently the Hasids there, the congregation, at some point had like dug up some underground layer for the synagogue, like some tunnel, and the city and the NYPD came in there to like bust it up and pour concrete into it to seal it back up. And so this like big fight broke out between the Hasids and the NYPD, and there's just this hilarious footage of this like riot breaking out. You know how the Hasids look. They all got like the suits and the hats. And they're just like flipping pews over and knocking over tables. And dude, it's crazy. The best one, the one that went the most viral and is not a good look for Jewish people, is a video of a Hasidic man in like full Hasid garb crawling out of the sewer. Like coming out from underground.
What are they doing down there? What do they have? Tunnels?
Nobody knows. Nobody has any clue.
How far is it? They don't know how far they go.
It looked like it was just like some sub basement, maybe. Like from what I understand, they were trying to connect that synagogue to some other church or something. And the city came in and was like, you definitely cannot do this. The amount of permits you would need to even start a project like this, they were like, it's just not going to happen. We got to seal this up. And it was finally like a moment where the city just absolutely had to step in to the Hasids, who normally just do whatever they want, whenever they want, all the time, and never face any consequences for any of the weird stuff that they do. But this one was like, No, this is
Yeah, they
actually
just do
like
their own thing.
dangerous. This is like
Yeah.
somebody will die if you do this.
Hmm.
And it's not
That's
a
pretty
good,
wild.
yeah, not a good look for Jewish people.
That's what a weird day. Yeah, I literally was just going home and I saw that video you're talking about where he's crawling out of the tunnel, and I was just like, I'll get back to that later. I gotta take my work clothes off, get on this pod, and but I figured I'd see something about it later. Yeah, and I saw some video of him arguing with this other guy.
Yeah, there was this like
It's like yeah,
Italian
Italian
cop,
cop.
like asked him about it, and the line that's been going around is he's like, "We don't do that in America, bud." He's like, "We don't do that here in America."
Jeez, wow,
Yeah,
that's wild.
yeah, it's just such a bad look, because like Jewish people have spent like decades to quell any sort of imagery or ideas that they are, like
Yeah,
underground tunnel dwelling golems, and now there's like pretty extensive footage of them just doing that.
man,
So
that's pretty bizarre.
yeah, it's very funny. It's the hardest I've laughed in a while is watching some acidic dude climb out of the sewer. I seriously was like, man, you cannot look this Jewish and be seen doing this. It really,
Yeah.
it's as bad. It's as on the nose as if you saw like a black guy with like grape Fanta and watermelon and fried chicken. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's
No,
like, are you seriously doing that? Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
hear
just
you.
it's too much. It's just like, no,
Mhm.
this is bad for you. It's bad for your people.
Yeah. Well, that's how I feel anytime you see like a white video surface up of a white guy just saying the N word. I'm just like, come on, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah,
You're not helping the cause.
or even just like a white person cooking with like no seasoning. I'm like, nope, this is bad for us, bad for our people.
Yeah, come on, man. Make us proud here. Throw
Yeah,
some spice.
please use some Lowry's, please, because I want to put a stop to this harmful stereotype that we don't be seasoning our food.
I know. I was like, say, I grew up with like good cooks in the family, so like I grew up eating nice, developing a good spice palate. Like I don't know where that came from, but it is
Dude,
disappointing.
I always got Lowry's and Tony Chachere's and all kinds of seasons on deck. I don't, it's such a harmful stereotype to our community.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a tough one. Not the worst out there, but hey, we got to have something.
yeah, but it's been a big week for Judaism.
Wow, yeah, it sure has. And you
And
know,
they found like a bloody mattress down there. There's like some picture of them like hauling up some like twin size mattress like covered in blood and doo doo, and everyone's like, "What was the mattress? What was that? Why is there a mattress in high chairs?"
do his Hasidics
Yeah,
still? Do they still? They don't sacrifice animals, do they?
no, no, I don't think so. I don't know what they do. To
Hey,
be
what if they're
honest with
down
you.
there? Like, what if they're down there? Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I know it's a
I
really
know
extreme version.
I've heard that they do have that they are like kind of incestuous, and the men, like grown men, will marry like teenage women to girls, teenage girls.
Yeah, yeah, young ladies.
Yeah, and the way, and I don't know how true this is. This might just be one of those like meme things or stereotypes that goes around, but I've heard that the way they do a bris is also kind of gross.
Hmm.
You know what a bris is?
Yeah, I've heard about it, like, but
Yeah.
I don't know how true that ever was with the moil.
Yeah, because I wonder if that's like the same kind of myth as like the hole in the sheet.
Right, right.
Like I don't know how true that is, but it's certainly like proliferated as a thing that people are aware of, that
Mm-hmm.
the moil snips the foreskin and then gives
With
it a
his teeth,
little.
with his teeth, right?
No, he uses like the ceremonial tools or whatever, a hammer and chisel or whatever they do,
What does
and
he put his mouth on it for?
I guess like when it's bleeding, he like sucks the blood off with his mouth, and that's what that's what we hear.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, I don't know.
who signs up
It-
for that job?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why anybody would be Hasidic. I don't get it. Like I don't. I can understand being Jewish, kind of, but I don't understand like that particular sect because it's so unbelievably strict and oppressive. And it's
Yeah.
and it's not even like, it doesn't seem like it lines up with like just like what Judaism is asking of anybody. It seems like it's this like radical thing.
Well, it is. It's an extra. I believe there's another text that they
What, like
look at and
the
read. It's not just.
Talmud? Is it the
Is
Talmud?
that what it is?
I don't know.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's something that's outside the Pentateuch or the Torah.
Yeah, I think it might be the
Like
Talmud. I don't know much
maybe
about what's going on over there. I just know that my experience with them, having lived in that area for a little while, they're very mean, very insular, tribal people.
it is
And
interesting. I mean, we both like literally lived there in Crown Heights.
we did, yeah, we lived near that Chabad, like
That's crazy.
because it's over there on Eastern Parkway. So like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we were walking distance from it, but yeah, I mean,
Wow.
but big week for, I guess, for Judaism.
Yeah. No,
Um,
no kidding. A big week for a lot of it. Well, let's dive in. Let's see what happens
yeah,
with these other Jews.
yeah, we're still in the first book of Moses, which we will be for the
Well,
better part of a year.
and come to think of it now, like none of these people had they didn't have like a name nationally. They didn't have a name for the group of the people yet. We haven't seen that once, have we?
No, I don't think there was like an official tribe yet. Because
Yeah,
I
try.
mean,
There you go.
everything's getting wiped out right now, so that they haven't been
True.
able to form anything like that yet. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean
like these next
that's
few
true.
chapters is when God actually starts forming like a covenant with humanity, and we start seeing the rituals and the laws and everything happen. So like up until
Yeah,
this point, it's just been like chaos, and this is
yeah,
more like now we're getting into like structure.
yeah. He's wiping it clean, so to speak, a washing, if you will, a rebirth.
Yeah, doing a little,
Yeah,
it all comes out in the wash.
yeah. Reborn through the
Yeah,
watery placenta of a flood.
yeah. I mean, when do I think about this? I mean, this is like kind of the first baptism, baptizing
Yeah,
the whole earth.
it is. It is. I mean, a lot of people use that metaphor for prophecy of what's to come, or the idea of rebirth and resurrection,
Dude,
which a
there's
lot of people have taken.
a lot of symbology in this chapter for sure. A lot of
Yes.
symbolism, and if we're smart enough, we might understand it.
Yeah,
But that
maybe.
remains to be seen.
Yeah, this this is true.
Yeah.
Also, a text that's been studied closely for a very long time by many people. So we'll do our best.
We'll do our best. That's what this show is, and that's all Christ asks of us, is to do our best
Hey, man,
in this
just
life.
well, and we have a long way before we get there.
Oh man, but you know what? There's always time for forgiveness is there if you want it.
Exactly.
So we're on Genesis chapter 8.
Chapter 8.
Yeah, the first book of Moses, Genesis chapter 8, verse 1. And God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark.
Well,
And
that's good. Thank God he remembered.
I'm glad he didn't forget. I'm glad.
No, it's like, hey, God, you remember? You remember I'm over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that feeling. Like when you're sitting in the truck, like when you go to Walmart as a kid, and you're like, I don't want to go in. You ever do that?
Yeah.
You ever have that where it's like, I'll just wait in the car. You go on into Walmart, and then
Yeah.
after like 20 minutes, you're like, oh, I guess they just forgot. Like they're just never coming back to the car.
Yeah, they're never coming back.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of the feeling that Noah was dealing with, or
Well, or what about God though? So God's just sitting around in heaven going, I feel like I'm forgetting something.
You think so? Yeah.
Oh, Noah. Oh crap.
You think God was just like playing Grand Theft Auto for a few days and being like,
Yeah.
oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yes, I flooded the earth.
And
And there's this guy. This guy's waiting on me. Yeah.
Oh, he's got all those animals. His whole family's with him. Oh, I feel like a little rascal.
I could have swore I set my alarm. And he looks at his phone and it's like, oh, it was the calculator.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the alarm.
I always do that.
Yeah. But yeah, so he
It was the
remembered
AM
him.
PM.
Yeah, yeah. He said it. He said it for
Noah.
PM when he meant AM. Just completely slept through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he remembered, and God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. Assuaged.
Especially after you said that God passed wind. He passed a wind and
he passed wind and the water's assuaged.
that
Hey,
happens.
that happens. I'd imagine if God were to break wind, it would assuage the waters.
I'd imagine it'd be quite mighty.
Yeah, a mighty wind.
The most high, the most
the most high. Yeah, so the waters assuaged. Verse 2. The fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained, and the waters returned from off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated. And the ark rested in the 7th month on the 17th day of the month upon the mountains of Ararat. Where's that?
Oh, it's just right over there by, it's just right over yonder.
I mean, that might answer our question about like any sort of geography. Where is Ararat?
Yeah, I mean, surely there's gotta be some maps in this thing. This new study Bible. I haven't gone through this whole thing yet. There's so much to it.
It says here that Mount Ararat. What is that? Is that a Pokemon? Mount Ararat is a volcano in Turkey.
Turkey, okay. That's what I always heard growing up, is that they would say, oh, they found parts of the Noah's Ark in Turkey.
Here we go. I'm on the Wikipedia page, brother. Resting place of Noah's Ark. Origin of the tradition. According to the book of Genesis of the Old Testament, Noah's Ark. This is our This is how we do research here. Is read a Wikipedia article.
Yeah.
According to
Bible.
Yeah. According to the book of Genesis of the Old Testament, Noah's Ark landed on the mountains of Ararat, biblical Hebrew Har Ararat. Genesis 8:4. Many historians and Bible scholars agree that Ararat is the Hebrew name of Urartu, the geographical predecessor of Armenia. They argue that the word referred to the wider region at the time and not specifically to Mount Ararat. The phrase is translated as mountains of Armenia in the Vulgate. Nevertheless, Ararat is traditionally considered the resting place of Noah's Ark and thus regarded as a biblical I mean, no matter what, that's gotta suck, dude, to be like trapped up on the water
in mountains
for 150 days, and then it's like finally, dude, finally the waters are assuaging, and then where do you land? On top of a mountain?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I was going to ask you too. Think about this though, dude. All right. So back in chapter 7, the water prevailed upon the earth. It was raining for 40 days and 40 nights. Water prevailed upon the earth for 150 days. And then in chapter 8, it says that, and the water receded steadily for 150 days. So is that a total of 300 days?
It says here that it was, I mean, I don't know. I think it was 150 days total.
Total?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 40 days and 40 nights. And then it's just still, I guess. And then after 150, wait, hold on. Yeah, I guess yeah, I guess I don't know when the waters began to assuage, but I think all said and done, it was 150 days on the ark before it.
He says water receded steadily from the earth. At the end of the 150 days, the water decreased. So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess you're right. Then it was 150 days.
Yeah. And so the ark rested on the mountains of Ararat, which, is not ideal. It's like, oh well, now we're stuck on a mountain in a boat with a bunch of
Yeah,
animals. It's
yeah,
not
exactly.
it's not a good place for a boat to be, is on a mountain.
Just on mountains, and then you're on mountains because you're like, these are mountain peaks, and then there's still water. You can still see it. It's like we need it to go down even further, and then we can make our way down at some
Yeah.
point. And how
Yeah.
steep are these mountains? I mean, I hope they're not too
Yeah, I mean,
steep.
honestly, yeah, the situation's not much better than it was. It's like, okay, cool. I'm on a mountain and everything is still kind of flooded. So,
Yeah,
this is not that good. And
it sucks.
and when this is finally over, we have to walk down a mountain. We have to
Yeah,
figure out how to get
exactly.
all these cows and chickens and, and everything down
Yeah.
this mountain.
What you really should do is get them to all mate and have a bunch of babies. That way you can take them all down in a bigger group because the inevitable will fall and die. That way you still have some extras.
That's true. Yeah, it's a precarious situation for sure. Because if you only have two of everything, and then you've already all the extras you already used for your sacrifices, so you've got like two of each. Then yeah, any sort of like if you trip or if there's an avalanche, anything,
Mm-hmm.
that's extinction for whatever that species is.
Yeah, yeah, that's done. That's why we don't have dodos anymore.
Well, that's why. Yeah, exactly. The dodo tumbled off the mountain after the flood. And yeah, Noah was like, "Well, my
And those,
bad.
like, I mean, he's like, God, those birds were kind of stupid anyway.
Yeah, it was a dumb bird. We don't need it.
Literally,
Doesn't even
Adam is
fly.
aimed at the dodo.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't even fly. God, what?
yeah. Uh,
um, yeah,
okay, so yikes. Yeah, so he's in a rough situation post flood.
yeah. It's scary, very scary.
Very scary.
Uh,
They had to have been scared. I mean, yeah, that would be very, very scary.
Dude, I mean, I'm scared when my socks get wet. You know, that scares me. I couldn't imagine being in this situation.
Yeah, just dying to get off the boat.
Yeah. And then we go to verse 5, and the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, were the tops of the mountains seen. And it came to pass at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made, and he sent forth a raven, which went forth to and fro until the waters were dried up from off the earth. And he sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters were abated from off the face of the ground. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her foot, and she returned unto him into the ark, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. Then he put forth his hand and took her and pulled her in unto him into the ark. What happened to the raven? It just left?
I wonder if it died. Well, he sent out. He said, okay, he sent out a raven, and it flew here and there until the water was dried up from the earth. So I guess the raven just left.
The raven piece that I don't know. I feel like there.
Did the raven die?
I don't know. I feel like there's some symbology here, right, between the raven and the dove. See,
Yeah. Well,
something dark and light.
maybe, and a dove is also representative in the Bible a lot as the Holy Spirit or the Spirit of God. It's used several times as a dove, more specifically during Jesus's baptism.
Yes, and aren't they also like carriers, like messengers?
Yes, carriers, messengers. So yeah, maybe it's like that's like the dove was meant to return, and the raven wasn't. So, but it's.
But ravens are very smart. They can do courier services. That's what they use in Game
Yeah,
of Thrones. Game of Thrones uses
yeah, they do.
ravens.
You're right. They do use ravens, and so I don't know. I don't know what this is about. I mean, with doves aren't messengers. Then it's we're thinking of like pigeons, or maybe they use doves too. I
Isn't a
don't know.
pigeon also a dove?
It's kind of the same family, right?
Aren't they, right? I don't know.
That would seem right. They walk the same.
I'm not an ornithologist, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, neither. Uh, yeah, that's weird. Until it was dried up, then he sent out. Okay,
Yes.
well, maybe it says he sent the raven and it flew here and there until the water was dried up from the earth. So maybe he kept coming back and he couldn't go anywhere. But then once the raven didn't come back, then he was like, okay, time to send a dove.
Oh
And
yeah,
then maybe he sent the dove.
so
Maybe the
the
raven
Raven
found the
was
place.
the Raven was doing recon and reporting back regularly, and then I guess it just disappeared at one point.
And he was like, okay, maybe there's a place now for it. And the dove went out, maybe couldn't reach it in time. Maybe it was too
Yeah.
far for the dove. And so he's like, all right, come back in. I'll wait another 7 days. That's what he says, right? He took it back into the ark. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry.
Yeah, but okay.
See verse 10 there.
Yeah, so but I don't understand. So it says he sent the Raven until the waters were dried up from off the earth. And he also sent a dove to see if the waters were abated from off the face of the ground. But isn't that's the same thing, right? If the
Well, but
waters are dried,
can
then
ravens swim? Can ravens fly higher,
I don't know.
or can they go further maybe than a dove or a
If the
pigeon?
waters are dried up from off the earth, would they not also be abated from the face of the ground?
Yes, I suppose
I
it would.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it dried up to see if the water was abated. Maybe just the raven died. Maybe it was just flying for so long and it drowned because
But
it
if
had
the
no place to
Raven,
go.
but hold on, if he only had two of each animal, then there would be no more ravens. If that happened,
Maybe they had gotten to screwing and laying some eggs on the ark. I mean, they had 140, 50 days,
oh, you might be right about that. Yeah,
you know.
there might have been more ravens by this point.
I mean, or maybe he just brought an extra couple for this reason or something. I mean, but it is, yeah. Why?
Yeah, I don't know. There's some
You want?
symbolism. There's symbolism here we're not getting between the
I have a
raven and the
footnote.
dove. Yeah, go ahead. What's the
Would you like
footnote?
the old John MacArthur footnote on it?
Yeah, go.
A raven dove. Ravens survive on a broad range of food types. If any food was available outside of the ark, the raven could survive. In contrast, a dove is much more selective in its food choices. The dove's choice of food would indicate that new life had begun to grow. Thus, Noah and his family could also survive outside the ark.
Okay.
That's
Okay, that
something.
you know what? That makes sense. Then we're on to something here. So that might be the maybe that's the symbolism. The raven represents the dark, you know,
It eats
uh
anything.
it just eats anything. Yeah, it's moving away from God. We need God. We need the life, the sustenance that God provideth for us. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you know, people have always tried to draw their conclusions however they want them.
I don't
But the
know.
raven dove thing is weird.
Yeah,
But it
ravens are
sounds interesting.
ravens are cool birds. They're just black, but that doesn't mean they're like evil or necessarily represent any sort of anything devilish. They're just
Sure,
black
and they never
birds.
and they didn't say it was a white dove. Could have been like a
Yeah,
blue dove or something.
yeah. It's probably a white dove.
Probably a white dove.
Probably a white dove. Edge of 17.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Edge of
The
17.
age of 17.
Edge of 17.
Oh, edge of 17.
Yeah,
No,
just
that's
like
not.
the white winged dove sings
Oh,
a song, sounds
sounds
like
just
she's
like she's
singing.
singing.
Ooh,
Ooh,
baby.
baby. Ooh,
Ooh, baby.
sing.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's a jam.
That's a jam right there.
Dude,
Um,
I got some feedback from playing Flood by Jars of Clay last week.
yeah.
Yeah, I had some people DMing going, "Holy crap, I forgot about this song and all that."
People were in the comments like, yeah, this slaps. This is good.
This was a jam.
um,
That's good.
yeah, so I guess the Raven was out there rooting around just eating critters and fish or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe I didn't think about that.
Yeah, and the dove was
Yeah,
like,
the minnows.
yeah, and the dove was just freaking out and like, I got to get back to the ark.
Yeah, there's
And
nothing. I can't eat anything here.
yeah, there's nothing here. So the waters have not abated from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's that.
Yeah, so it's good for them to know they could leave the ark once the dove figures it out, I guess.
Yeah. And then we go to verse 9, or wait, no, verse 10. And he
Yeah.
stayed yet other 7 days. And again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. And the dove came into him in the evening, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from off the earth. And he stayed yet other 7 days and sent forth the dove, which returned not again unto him any more. So there you, I
Nice.
mean, now the dove and raven are just, having it on their own adventure together.
It's going good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, think how far they had to fly though. Imagine being in a place where you see no land around you in the middle of the ocean, or you're just on a mountaintop. I mean, that's a vast distance to go for a bird, and then to come back without getting down.
Yeah. Yeah. His wings had to be tired.
Oh yeah, that little guy is a trooper.
Yeah. That's
And
probably the first time anyone made that joke. Like, I just flew in. Boy, my arm's tired.
Yeah, these are also talking doves.
These is a talking dove. Yeah.
There's a footnote on that. Hey, I was gonna point out something I think was interesting. And I think this is actually a testament to
An Old Testament.
it's an Old Testament
Okay.
to where maybe the actual geographic mountains of Ararat are. The dove brought back an olive leaf.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps these mountains, perhaps that they really did land around Turkey. This ark.
Yeah. Is this where we get like? It's an olive leaf, but where does the expression like extending an olive branch come from? Does it start here?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Because what is? I mean, what is the like symbolism of the olive leaf? It's like reading this as like a literature. It's not an olive leaf for no reason.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, I was right. I was
What?
right, Jamie.
It's from here.
The expression to extend an olive branch means an offer of peace or reconciliation. It has a biblical origin. It comes from the book of Genesis. The sign that the flood was over was an olive branch brought back to the ark by a dove. So I guess in like some translations, it's a branch instead of a leaf. Okay, I was right.
Nice.
So that's what it means. That's like the symbolism is it's an offering of peace. It's like God's message that is, peace be with you, peace be upon you. The flood is over.
Yeah, the flood is over. Bad times are over.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, yeah, there we figured it out, dude.
Well, it's kind of crazy that origins of idioms that we say are biblical. Like the origin is the Bible. It's not like where did that come from? It's like, oh well, it came from the Bible. That's kind of crazy,
Yeah.
This is how influential this book is, basically.
Very influential. Goated, some would say.
Someone goated. But I was meaning like the idea that that these people, Moses, and where we are with our knowledge of the Bible, I mean that wouldn't be too far off. If Ararat's in Turkey and he's finding olive leaves, I mean that's olives are indigenous to that kind of
like Mediterranean,
Mediterranean. So it's kind of like that's kind of interesting too, cool and kind of cool. And like a historical point is that it's probably around there somewhere that this did it kind of happen somehow. Perhaps, unless they just wrote this as a
there probably was
tale
at some point there probably was some sort of cataclysmic flood, because this is not the only flood story. There's also like other tales from that time, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, and some probably some other stories that are like the same story, like different characters but very similar
Right.
meaning. So there probably was some sort of like apocalyptic flood that like wiped out some percentage of the population, and there were these like stories written about like what, okay, so what happened, because there was no like,
Yeah.
there was no Doppler radar, there was no, you know, there was
Yeah.
no
And
way
it
to
was
like,
just, and at some point you were just like, yeah, I don't know. I just remember as a kid, all my grandparents were always talking about a flood. And, because that would be crazy starting over. Like, as it, all you would have a remember. And then at some point, everybody that remembered the flood would be dead. And at that point on, it's a game of telephone.
yeah. And I think all stories at this time were like some game of telephone. I don't think anyone's
Oh,
writing
yeah.
anything down.
That's a good point. I mean, because, yeah, I don't know when actually written words
Yeah,
started.
like right. Yeah, I think like most stories back then were spoken. It was just like orated.
Right.
So any sort of text would be based on just the passing down of like these orated stories. And then at some
Yeah.
point somebody finally writes it down.
Yeah, true. I'm sure there were probably like maybe more like hieroglyphs and images, if anything.
Maybe. We're not scholars, so
No,
we do not know what we're talking about.
this is true.
This is very like,
we're just like, what if?
yeah, this is very like Rogan history, just like just saying things based on nothing,
Maybe I'm absolutely nothing.
based on some vague idea of something we might have heard at one point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's all right. Well, let's get back to what it's saying then.
Yeah. And let's see. So the dove is gone. Verse 13. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. And in the second month, on the 27th day of the month, was the earth dried. When is the earth actually dry? They've said the earth was dry like 5 different times now, and it's never. It has. When is it dry?
On the second day of the fourth month.
The second, and on the second, hold on. The second month, on the 7th and 20th day of the, so the 27th of February. I guess the earth was finally dry.
But also, this is the first month of the first in the first month. On the first month,
The first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. And in the second month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, was the earth dried.
well, yeah, so that makes sense. So that's a month later. It's still dry.
It is still okay. Yeah, you're right. You know what? It would still be dry. Yeah,
It's also in the third. Let's just add in the third month on the 14th day of the month.
still dry.
Earth was dried.
You're right. I guess from that point
It's
forward, any date you mention, you could say, and the earth was dry.
well, because and to be fair, it did say that the floodgates stopped. The floodgates were restrained, right, and closed. The floodgates were closed, which came from the earth. There was the sky rain, and then there was the earth rain that was coming forth through the floodgates. So maybe they were just like, I don't know, because we saw
where
water.
are the floodgates in the earth or in the sky? In the sky.
I'm sorry, the fountains of the deep, not the floodgates.
The fountains of the deep, and then
so they're probably just worried. They're like, are these fountains of the deep going to do that crazy? I mean, we saw what they just started spewing up.
Yeah, so there's the earth. So the earth rain and the sky rain is finally.
So maybe
done.
he was just worried. Maybe he was like, because he opened up, right? He said the Noah removed the covering and looked. It was dry. So then, in the second month, it was still dry. Oh yeah, we should keep going. Should keep going. Hold on. Yeah, look right there.
And then we go to verse 15. And God spake unto Noah, saying, Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife, and thy sons wives with thee. Bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee of all flesh, both of fowl and of cattle, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful, and multiply upon the earth. Sounds like these animals are going to get to know each other, if you know what I
They're
mean.
about to do some knowing.
They're about to do some. Noah's not the only one knowing, if you know what I mean.
They're all going to be knowing some stuff soon.
They're all going to be knowing, dude.
So yeah, that's what I think it is. I think Noah was just like let's wait. Like he's like, it's dry. I'm sure his family was like, come on, let's go. He's like, no, and so he closed himself up for like another month and a half, and he's like, it's still dry. And family's like, are you ready? And then God's like, all right, yeah, no, I'll leave. Like, get out of that ark.
Yeah, we need the all clear from God. We need like
Yeah.
an official message.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Just like any emergency service system, you want to wait until you get the notification on your phone that
because this is true. God said enter the ark. He never said leave it. So he's probably just like, what do I do? Do I go?
Because that's what we were all waiting for with COVID, was like some sort of like message that said like it's officially over, and we just never got that. And
nope.
Yeah, so
take your booster.
Yeah, there's never been like an official end date for COVID. In fact, they say it's worse than like it's the second worst wave since it started, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So we never got any sort of message from God on this one. On this
only COVID,
flood of the it is a flood of the viral flood, so to speak.
Viral flood.
Yeah,
a worldwide viral flood.
Yeah, another punishment from God unto man for sodomy or something, for something we did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't because we were all going to church.
Yeah. So he got the all clear from God, and God's telling him, let these animals out and let them get to know him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they need to multiply abundantly.
Yeah. And then we go to verse 18. And Noah went forth, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him, every beast, every creeping thing, and every fowl, and whatsoever creepeth upon the earth. Got to cover our bases here. Everything. All of it. After their kinds went forth out of the ark. And Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor. And the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more everything living as I have done. So the way God is being described here is still like somewhat like corporeal. Like he smelled the burnt offerings, like he has human senses.
Yeah, mine says he smelled the soothing aroma.
Oh, yours says soothing aroma?
A soothing aroma.
Yeah, mine says. Mine says he smelled a sweet savor. But the Lord is smelling, so he still exists as some sort of like tangible, tactile being, rather than this like supernatural, celestial entity that we would know him as today.
Well, maybe too, it's kind of saying like maybe him smelling the sweet savor or the soothing aroma. Maybe that's just saying. I mean, let me put it this way: if it said the Lord smelled a spoiled carcass, you think I would be pleased with that? So maybe it's just more so is trying to say that he accepted it, or that Noah's sacrifice was accepted.
No, yeah, God said, "What's cooking? Good looking."
Yeah. Well, yeah. That'd be the new 2024 millennial modern translation.
Yeah. The Lord said, "Smells bussin'."
Yeah, that slaps on
Slaps
God, on
on
God,
go
on me.
on me. Yeah, for real. No
For
cap.
real. This is a busting sacrifice,
Dead
Noah.
ass. It is a dead ass. It's a
It is
donkey.
a dead ass.
Sacrifice a donkey for you. Yeah. Uh,
That's correct. Dead ass.
it's a
What is
dead
that? Dead
ass.
ass.
What is that dead ass? um
That's great. That's great.
yeah, but you know what I mean? Like God, the way this is written here is like God still has like a closer like physical connection, at least in the way it's
Mm-hmm.
written, to humans, because like the way we know God now and the way he's represented later on, especially in the New Testament, is he's just sort of this like idea that people have to have faith in to
Mm-hmm.
you just have faith in God. So there's no
Yeah.
like he's not smelling any, there's no record of him smelling anything or talking to anybody or doing anything like this. It's just like you just have faith in him, and then like the only person he's like communicating with at that time is Jesus, his son. But here he exists still as more of a like a similar god as what you would see in other mythologies. Like
Mm-hmm.
he has
Mm-hmm.
like some sort of connection with the earth still
Yeah.
in a
That's a
physical
good
way.
point. Yeah, because it does. Yeah, especially the smelling part, but and even said something to him. But maybe this is God just again continuing that kind of separation from us because now he's like, all right, well, I'm never going to curse the ground again, especially on account of man. I'm not going to punish the earth like because
Yeah.
of man. I'm not going to do this because of man because the intent of man's heart is only evil from his youth. So I'm not
Yeah,
going to just destroy
the lines are being drawn here. Like you're seeing more of a distinction being made between man and God. That like what God is realizing and what we're like understanding and reading this is that God is pure and good and
everything.
righteous no matter what. But the what lies within the hearts of all men from their youth till their death within their imaginations is evil.
Evil. God, and that's such an intense and hard pill to swallow. I think unless of course you're like have already been there enough to be like, yeah, I'm pretty evil. But the youth thing is interesting because like how young do you think he's talking about? You think from like infant, and there's that idea of like the
Or,
infant
original sin.
original sin versus like age of accountability or like our children, like how innocent our children
Well,
before
I
they've
mean,
grown
you
up.
remember be like we remember being a kid, and we see it in kids that kids
Mm-hmm.
can be vicious.
Yes.
Like kids can like have, it's just pure, unfiltered, formless, mischievousness,
Yeah.
mischievousness,
Mischievy.
mischievy, malevolence,
Oh, mischief.
mischief. That's the word. Mischief.
Hey, we are scholars.
Mischievy. But yeah, kids, they can be like really mean. I mean, there's bullying and
Mm-hmm.
hurting animals, playing with fire. Like a child's imagination is one of violence and ne'er do well.
Well, and
Um,
then hit me think about the hitting aspect too. I mean, if kids, even babies, they don't know what's going on. If they don't want someone doing something, they just start whacking them,
yeah, yeah, and so
or
like,
biting, and it's like maybe they're looking for a reaction. But even as a youth, let's say a youth's a little bit older than a baby or a kid, like it's at that age where you're being a real, you know,
bird.
yes, like I'm talking like those teenage years where and that's an age where you really start like testing the boundaries of rebellion and really start going against things that you've been taught not to do, like on purpose.
Yeah,
You think your parents are stupid, like, oh, I'm going to do all this crap. And yeah, it starts snowballing into adulthood. I mean, it's kind of amazing.
yeah. But I mean, on the flip side of that, like I think everybody has instinctually some sort of moral compass, like a sense of right and wrong. But we also have this like definitely in our imaginations and our desires to do bad, to be bad boys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's being a big part of youth and growing up is like receiving teachings and structure that provide you with a more fine-tuned moral compass, some sort of like rigidity that allows you to walk the right path in
Yeah,
life.
and harness that
Yeah,
male energy into good.
yeah, to yeah, take that mischievy
Yeah,
and channel it into something constructive, because
yeah,
we see, I mean, it says here the imagination is evil, and we see that with like so much creativity. I mean, look at, we do comedy, and so much of comedy is, we try to be bad boys, we
hmm
try to, when we do our teehees, we try to, we try to push, really like walk that line and push the envelope. A
sure.
lot of us do, and say the things that which only reside in the evil hearts of man that many are afraid to speak out loud.
Yeah, but and
Uh,
that's the thing though. We're just talking about it. I mean, God dang, dude, the amount of evil
Whoa, hey,
crap.
whoa,
Whoa,
blasphemy in
oh,
there.
sorry.
Father God, please forgive Jamie for his sins and
See,
transgressions. Amen.
the intent of I'm evil. I'm so I don't even know what I'm saying. Just the amount of like evil crap I've done. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh my gosh, not
Oh dude,
just
when I
that
when
on
I
stage.
when I was in my like mania, when like all of everything I'd been like, all the good and wholesome things that I had been instilled in me were just gone, and I was just pure unfiltered id,
Hmm.
and the evil imagination was really shining through me,
Yeah.
or oozing out of me. Dude, I said and did some rotten things. I
Yeah.
was a maniac, and made some very bad phone calls and did some very bad things. So that's in the, yeah.
Yeah.
I've experienced it firsthand.
You see, yeah, you get it when it's like there's a difference whenever you're like, man, I'm evil, like versus like, oh yeah, everybody else is evil. When you
Yeah.
can like admit, like, man, I'm full of some pretty rough stuff.
Yeah. But this, and this idea is also explored in a lot of like philosophies later. Like, our boy Jordan B. Peterson talks a lot
Mm-hmm.
about like Jungian philosophy, the light and the shadow selves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, within everybody is this sort of like good and evil that resides within them, and there's no banishing of either one. There's always going to be some ratio, some concoction of both, and
Yeah.
what we must do is embrace both and explore both and understand them and harness both of those energies, both of those imaginations, to be constructive and live a good, fulfilling, broad life. You know,
Yeah, it was a tough balance indeed.
stuff balance, yeah. But I mean, we're obsessed with evil. I mean, look at all the true crime and horror
Oh
movies and
yeah, true.
violence. Violence in movies and sex on TV.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on.
Well, and what about the simple laughing at someone else's expense? Like someone else falling down is funny.
Oh yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
know.
Be in school, if someone
Mm-hmm.
like just has a brutal accident,
Yeah.
you start laughing at them, and they're in pain, they're hurting, they need a
Oh,
helping hand.
and for some reason, when someone's fatter and falls, it's even funnier,
Oh, dude.
right?
Yeah. What's
You want to
that?
see a fat fall or a skinny fall?
What is that? I think it was Mel Brooks who said, the difference between like tragedy and comedy is
Oh
like
yeah.
if a man is shaving in the morning and he cuts himself, that's a tragedy. But if a man is walking on the way to work and falls down a manhole and dies, that's a comedy.
No, no, it's different. It's if the man falls down the well and dies, that's a comedy. If you cut your beard, cut your cheek shaving, that's a tragedy.
Yes.
So it's more personal. Like if it happens to me, smallest thing is a tragedy. The worst thing happens to you, it's a comedy.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's like so twisted.
Yeah, but I mean, he's right about that.
Yeah. Like, oh, look at that guy, he died.
Yeah, we derive a lot of joy from the suffering of others because of the evil within our imaginations.
Yeah, the intent of man's heart is evil. It's pretty rough.
The darkness that lies within our hearts and the hearts of our fathers.
And the father's fathers.
The father's
And
fathers.
the mothers.
And the mothers. Man, we're this now we're scholars.
This is it.
Yeah, we've uncovered the mischievy that lies within
mischievy.
Mischievy. A paisan, mischievy. Then we go to this is the last verse, verse 22. While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. So there you go. I mean, that right there proves that climate change is a hoax. That's an irrefutable proof. It says right there, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, night and day shall not cease. So this idea that climate change is going to come along and just like devastate the earth and we're not going to have any winters anymore and the crops are all going to dry, all this apocalyptic ideology that people love to espouse about climate change is anathema to what scripture teaches us, which is that following the flood, God made a covenant with us. He promised us that the seasons would change as they should for all time.
While the earth remains.
While the earth remains. But there's no mention of global warming or climate change. That's not going to happen. So I think that's my takeaway from that verse.
But it's odd because he's like, while the earth remains, why did he have to add that in there? Because when it doesn't remain, then all that's going to stop.
Right. Well, I mean, if you factor in the heat death of the universe, which will happen billions of years from now, then sure, there's not going to be any seasons. But the Earth is here. Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
I feel like he's just kind of saying, like, again, I'm not going to flood it. Like while the Earth's here, I'm not going to just throw a flood on you. I'm going to let everything continue. There's no normal harvest time.
I guess maybe he's saying like whatever happens now is on you. It's on you.
Yeah, because this is not going to cease anymore.
Yeah, so if you start
day and night.
Yeah, if you start burning coal and putting lead in the gas and burning garbage in your backyard, not my fault. Not me.
My fault.
It's one way to interpret it, yeah.
Which could be actually a testament to climate change.
Could be, yeah. It could be that God gave us clean slate, fresh, clean earth.
Yeah.
Running like clockwork.
Just got a new bath.
Yeah. And as long as we don't start burning up all the coal and fossil fuels and microplastics and lithium mines and all this stuff, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But due to the evil within us, our greed, we gotta have new iPhones. So we gotta dig up them cobalt. We gotta get these like Congolese children to dig up the cobalt mines.
Yeah, and get some lithium batteries going.
Yeah, just a vast expenditure of resources, and that creates untold emissions ripping through the atmosphere and the ozone layer.
Yeah,
and by our own machinations, we may unlock the floodgates once again, but it will not be God's doing.
No, and because he promises that he won't, but we'll have to save that for next week.
So there's two ways to interpret this.
Yeah,
either it's valid, it's refuting climate change, or it's saying that climate change can happen but it's on us.
It's on us. So it's either completely anti or a warning against it.
Yeah, but no matter what, God is not going to do some big climate disaster, at least a flood again.
Yeah, not in a large scale. I mean, we have our tornadoes, hurricanes, and volcanoes and earthquakes, but not
there's there's
a big one.
cullings every now and then. There's cullings, but
small.
There's no Armageddons. There's no genocides like this.
No, wipe out.
But man, it's getting good, man.
It is getting good, and we are getting into some really interesting territory coming up soon.
Yeah,
which is really I'm really getting excited to get to. Well, first of all, we have to go through the Tower of Babel, but then we get to Abraham. I'm excited about Abraham, dude.
Yeah, I mean Abraham's good, and I think that's like the origins of Judaism is Abraham.
Yeah.
I think it's like the official like start of Judaism.
Mm-hmm. He's like the OG patriarch of of it.
He's the OG oy vey. No. Good. It's interesting though. There does seem to be this resurgence of like interest in these kinds of stories, especially these chapters now because of what's happened in the news on the internet. Did you remember have you heard the wild conspiracy theories about the Miami thing?
No, nothing about it. I really don't pay attention.
Oh, Jamie, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this because this is what we've been talking about. People are interested in the Bible again because of this.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah, well, this is why we started doing this. This is why we are the shepherds. Okay, so did you hear about that like altercation that happened at that mall in Miami?
No.
Okay, so there's this mall in Miami where something happened. Like a group of teenagers or something got into like this fight. Like this big like brawl happened from what I understand. And so the police department was called, and it was like a crazy amount of cops that showed up. Like just tons and tons of cop cars. Like the footage just shows like it looks like it's the entire like Miami-Dade Metro PD just shows up to this one mall because some teenagers got into a fight. And there doesn't seem to be any footage of what happened inside the mall. So the most like prominent conspiracy theory regarding this story is that what was in the mall were Nephilim. That
what?
A mall in Miami was visited by Nephilim.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy. That's a wild
because thing. There's people saying that they saw 9 to 10 foot entities in the mall, and that's why there's no footage of it, because either they were unfilmable or some sort of like Men in Black forced everyone to erase any footage they had gotten of this. And so there's all these like TikToks and tweets and everything, all these stories coming out that it's either aliens or Nephilim.
That's wild. What a theory.
And so that's why the people need their shepherds, us, to guide them from to a place to understanding, what are the Nephilim and why they may not be interested in Miami. I
don't know. Actually, if we go back, let's see, where was that? 6. The Nephilim were on the earth those days, and afterward, when the sons of God came in to the daughters of men. Geez, this is a graphic version.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe they heard there were big booty Latinas in Miami.
That's something. I think they like big fake booties because they saw that those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown.
Well, yeah,
but I think at this point, the Nephilim were also men, but they were just big. So they're
Yeah,
all
they're
extinct. I don't think they
giants.
could. They definitely can't disappear.
Well, if we're to believe based on like these reports that there's some sort of like celestial entities, and based on like what we read in the Bible, that at some point in time these Nephilim, got to know the women of Earth. If you know what I'm saying,
They got to know them.
they got to know them. Then and they exist as like a supernatural, extra dimensional, celestial being. Time operates differently for us versus them,
Sure.
and we don't know what they're up to, otherwise. So they may not have been even like paying attention to anything that's been going on Earth for the last thousands of years, and then just all of a sudden they dial back in to see what's going on and see in Miami big booty Latinas.
And they went to a mall. And wait, why were the kids fighting?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what the actual story is. Like it was just like some sort of like either a gang fight or some teenagers got into like a brawl or something.
While the Nephilim were at the mall?
Yeah.
So confused.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I guess the beef was still on, even though the Nephilim were there.
There was a fight going on between these high school kids. The cops showed up. There were two Nephilim walking around.
Yeah, they were Nephilim trying to get some big booty Latinas.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. We should go to this mall though. It sounds
We
like
should
it's
go
the
to this
happening
mall.
place.
Yeah. Dude, Miami's happening. The
Dude,
whole
Miami
Florida
rules.
is, yeah, Florida's awesome.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way Nephilim are going to Florida.
I mean, who knows, dude?
Maybe I don't know. Who knows? Yeah.
I mean, if there are a lot of big booty Latinas in Florida, and it's like
There are tons.
there were no big booty Latinas in in the time of Genesis. They were
They're probably
stuck.
not.
Yeah, there were no BBLs. There were
No,
no, there were no spicy Cubanas.
they were still into them though. I mean, the Nephilim said that the daughters of men were nice.
Yeah, and yeah, imagine being stuck with just like whatever like weird primitive African broads existed then that didn't bathe or shave or had
Yeah, everybody
none.
stinks.
Yeah, and then you just like poke your head
They're
back
all
in.
hairy.
Yeah, and you poke your head back in and you see like just a fat booty big booty Latina walking around the mall getting her ears pierced at Claire's.
Maybe
You
they
just
wouldn't know what to do with it because maybe they're the Nephilim are so used to nice, good, hairy,
oh
primitive
the
gal.
Nephilim wouldn't know what to do with all
They'd
that
be like, "What
booty
is that? Is that a child?"
all that booty meat. They wouldn't know what to do with that.
Yeah, yeah. You don't know. You can't handle this.
Yeah, you need a real poppy to handle that booty meat.
He's like, "What the earth is happening?"
Yeah.
God's like, "I said I'd never flood the earth again." So that's what we got now.
Yeah. I can't believe you hadn't heard about it. Dude. This the last
I
what
don't
is
watch
today?
a lot of stuff.
Today's the 10th. The first 10 days of this year have been like just each day is just a crazier story than the last. Like, so this is already like
Hmm.
4 or 5 big news stories ago.
Wow,
Like, yeah.
that's
Um,
crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like. I don't pay attention to a lot of news stuff. My reels, I'm telling you, they're like art.
yeah, you send me just like all the Christian memes.
Christian memes, art, music stuff, and then golf. How to fix my handicap. That's like
Yeah.
literally my reels.
Which to be honest with you, the Christian memes do make me laugh.
They're pretty funny.
They do get me.
Some of them are good. Some of them are just like weird, but yeah, they crack me up.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate them.
And then a lot of stand up comedy. So
Oh
usually
yeah,
I'll get my news late because I hear a comic trying to develop a bit on it, and then the video that comes out that they like enough to put out about an old like story. And I'm like, that's how I get my news.
dude, that's so
I'm like,
funny.
oh, I didn't know Kanye did that.
I don't even watch like you still pay attention on. I don't even watch stand up comedy anymore. I just watch people that hate stand up comedy.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like there's a guy I follow on YouTube, like this huge account. He's got like over 1 million followers. His name is Turkey Tom,
Hmm.
and he does like these video essays, like these breakdowns on different like figures in the media.
Hmm.
And he did I got a recommendation the other day that just said the most insufferable comedian of all time, and the thumbnail was Bert Kreischer. And it's like that's kind of what I'm tuned into these days.
I hear you. I mean, yeah, when it comes to the state of stand up, it's depressing for sure. But
yeah, they're doing a open mics at Madison Square Garden now.
yeah, it's great.
Did you see that?
Oh no, was it a really
Kill Tony's doing 2 shows at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, Kill Tony.
Yeah,
I believe that.
yeah. That's so crazy to me.
Well, it just becomes like a roast fest, because then those people that we just had them last week through New Year's, they all leave an arena and then they go to like these midnight shows after they've just been hearing everybody get roasted forever, and then they go and then these people just start interrupting shows and booing people. I'm like, no. Don't get it twisted with what Kill Tony's doing. What
yeah.
real
Have you gone to one since they came to Austin?
Yeah, actually, it's the only time I ever went up. I got up like my first moved here 2 years ago. I got on, and then I just never signed up again.
Who was on the panel that night?
Kurt Metzger.
Okay, I have a history with him.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, you don't know about this?
I think maybe I do now, because you were the one in Houston, right?
In Houston, when we were still doing the Loud
Yeah.
Boys, we had a live show at Skankfest, and he was, I think, the only comedian that actually agreed to be a guest out of like all the ones we were trying to get. He was like one of our choices. They sent us a list, and we're like, out of these, like, can you name like 3 or 4 that you would want as a guest? And he was one of the names we picked. And he was out of those names, he was the one that agreed.
Nice.
And so he was late. Like we found out he was gonna be like 15 minutes late. So we grabbed this other comedian, Mike Figs, to come up there with us just to get the show started. And then Metzger would hop up like 15 minutes later when he's finally done with his spot. And immediately we start the show, it's immediately off the rails. It's such just chaos what is happening on that stage, and it's just pandemonium. People are already like walking out, like we're losing audience members within the first like 10 minutes. and so he shows up, and like Metzger is a very, very funny guy, but he's also kind of a serious dude. Like he wants to have like a more like a grounded conversation and like riff from that. So he shows up, and we are just like howling like apes, and just not. We're not even like saying complete sentences. It's on YouTube if you want to watch, folks. If you want to watch this on YouTube,
have to.
It's unwatchable. It's so funny how bad it was. And so I forget how long he was up there, but he could barely get a word in edgewise. And I remember like at one point I looked at him, like he was like 2 or 3 over from me. Like we're sitting at a table, Last Supper style. And I like lean back and I look over at him, and I kind of make eye contact with him. And we just kind of had this moment where I tried to like telepathically tell him like, all hope is lost here, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what you expect from this, but
yeah. So then after however long he was up there with us, at a certain point he pulls out a cigarette and he goes, "Is there anywhere I can go smoke?" And we were like, "Oh yeah, you can just step outside, smoke real quick." And he was like, "Thanks." And he goes outside to smoke a cigarette and just never comes back.
Yeah, I'm about to say there's no way he's coming back.
He never came back.
That's awesome.
It was the funniest thing he could have done. It still makes me laugh, but
I mean, I think he was looking around going, I think I'm okay with leaving this.
Yeah. So that's funny that he was someone who judged your comedy that night. How'd you do?
Yeah, I had a great minute. I think it was the interview that bored him.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't like the interview I'm like, yeah, I was just giving him really dud answers. And the whole time I'm thinking, he liked my minute. Like, can I get a spot on the secret show? That's all I was like hoping for. Yeah. And then after that happened, everybody's just drunk afterwards, and I don't even think they remembered I went up. So I was just like, all right, I'm not standing in that pig pen ever again.
I personally do not like the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I know that Tony, like my interactions with Tony he was nice to me. Like he's always been nice. He seems like a solid dude who like really wants to help people. he also seems like a bit of a prick, but also not like overall like a community driven guy.
Yeah.
That show, is the evils within the imagination of all men. It seems so mean spirited at times.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an interesting. I mean, it's a great concept for a show, no doubt,
Oh, I
and
mean,
it's obviously
yeah, I
worked like a
mean, if
charm.
look, they're playing Madison Square Garden, so I'm wrong. Like
Yeah,
I'm wrong
yeah,
here, but
they figured it out.
it
But
just
yeah,
seems
people go there for the reason why people go to a NASCAR. You want to see somebody
you want to
wreck
see
and
somebody
flip a
bomb,
million
yeah,
times.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and that's one thing. But then like roasting them afterward, I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't even like roasting. Like I like
Like
roast.
making it worse.
I like roast when it's like somebody when it's like an honor to honor someone when it's like
Yeah.
Saget or Charlie Sheen or Trump. Those
Yeah.
old school Friars
Those were good
Club,
roasts.
Comedy Central roasts, those were fun. But these like roast battles or just roasting like some open micer, it's their first time. To me, it's like, well, you're not doing this from a place of camaraderie or treating them as like a colleague where you're just busting their balls. This is like mean to me. It just seems mean to me.
No, yeah, no, I know what you mean. It does have a weird feeling about it. And it's like, yeah, see, I was funnier than you. I kicked your ass, and I'm better a comedian. I should get booked more
Yeah,
than you. You shouldn't because you lost the roast battle. That's
yeah,
what it feels
it's
like.
so odd to me because there's like this really prevalent idea. It's like we gotta have a thick skin. We bust balls around here. Nobody's safe. And I'm like,
Yeah, 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 exactly.
but or we could not do that. Why are we doing this to each other?
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe we
It's
should try the support that we're always talking about.
it's fun. Look, it's fun to rip on each other. It's fun to break balls that way from time to time. But to make that your like whole philosophy of like, hey, nobody, I tell it like it is. Nobody's safe.
Yeah,
Is like, well, you could just not do that.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I feel like people want to like use being a comedian as a validation to be an asshole. And it's like just because
Yeah,
you're a comedian,
to ass wage people.
yeah, to assuage people, like you can be a comedian and still be a decent person. Just because you become a comedian doesn't mean you got to turn into like an actual scumbag full of mischief, you know?
Yeah, you don't have to be full of mischief to
Exactly. Like you can still be a regular person. Like, you can still
yeah.
be a nice, good, upstanding person and then do comedy. You don't got to be like, oh yeah, yeah, like you said, I just say how it is, and but it's weird and like that philosophy with that. I feel like with that show and that community that they kind of are in that mindset of like we're all
Yeah.
just wild and zany and living on the edge, and it's just like, man, that sounds like a rough go.
Yeah, it's because everybody's like, you gotta have a thick skin to do comedy. It's like, yeah, you do because you're gonna bomb.
Yeah,
Like
right, right, right.
that should be the
Not because
worst.
y'all are gonna attack me, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, like that should be the worst of it. Is just going on stage and telling a joke and nobody like it sucks. That's such a painful, humiliating feeling. Why add on to that? Like, also, we're gonna make fun of you. We're gonna be really mean to you about what just happened.
Yeah, about your physical appearance, about your about everything about you in the most shallow sense.
Yeah, but you and I, we walk with Christ, so we
Yes,
just
we're
have a
better.
different.
We're better than them.
We're
No, I'm just
not.
kidding.
Look, no, we're not.
I'm
We're not
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
judgmental. We're not doing that. Only God can judge. None of that. We just, we're Christ-like. So we try to be more welcoming and open in our church,
Yeah,
in our community.
yeah. We try to be a
Um,
little nice.
yeah, we're not trying to kill anybody, not even Tony.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Thou shalt not kill. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's right. That's number one. I'm pretty sure.
That's number one right there, baby.
Well, no, that was a good one, man. Gen 8. Uh,
Gen 8. Yep.
that
Genesis
was a
8.
solid one. I forgot how long the story of Noah takes,
Takes a minute, yeah. And then
but it
we have
is
a
interesting.
we have a tangent, maybe a bonus or something we're supposed to go on because
A
somebody,
guy.
yeah, a guy who I did a live stream with, who I only know as Jigglypuff. is his name. He reached out and said that he's read the Book of Enoch, which is where you learn more about the Nephilim, the Nephilim of Miami. And he asked if he could come on and like we talk about that part of the Apocrypha
About Enoch specifically.
Enoch, yeah.
All right. I have Enoch. I'll read it too. I've never read any of the Apocrypha.
Yeah, so we gotta fit that. I'll reach out to him. We'll fit that in at some point. But
okay, don't you have a copy of the Apocrypha?
I've got some Apocrypha here, but I got the Book of Enoch. I got it on my phone. Yeah, but we'll be doing that soon.
Cool.
But yeah, this was Genesis 8. Next time we're gonna do Genesis 9.
Yeah.
And then in 10 to 15 short years, we'll have read the entire Bible.
Yeah, guys, thanks for checking us out, and I hope you liked the sermon.
Yeah, today. And now let us pray, everybody. Bow your heads, Father God. Thank you for this day, this life that you have blessed us with. It is a beautiful and blessed one. And though at times our lives may be seemingly hopeless and filled with darkness and despair, we know that your light shines through no matter what. And as long as we walk with you, Lord, and accept your Son, Jesus Christ, as our Lord and Savior, that we shall always find that light. And through darkness and in light, enjoy, receive, and find grace with you, and receive your blessings. We ask you just to bless all of our moms and dads, and all the people out there that are struggling, and also the people that are not struggling. Please continue to rain blessings down upon us, for which we are eternally grateful. Um, and also help bless the economy, help us fix all these issues with inflation and high interest rates, so that my generation and the generations coming up can afford homes and not have to rent forever or live in their cars. And Lord, it is in Jesus' name that we pray, amen. Where'd you go, Jamie? Are you there? Jamie froze during the prayer. Okay, well, amen, everybody. I'm just looking at Jamie's eyes closed. Anyway, that this was the sermon for this week, the Blessed Billionaire Boys Backyard Bible Bonanza, or Sextuple B. Folks, we're going to pass the collection plate along whenever it gets to you. If you can, leave a little something in there. Patreon.com/cornfed with Dalton Pruitt. Once again, the collection plate is patreon.com/cornfed with Dalton Pruitt. Thank you. I love you. Blessed be, blessed be, blessed be. Be blessed, my flock. Thank you. I love you. Good evening. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.